So welcome to this week's Stay Connected webinar. We're really happy to see you. It was exciting to see you in person last month, and we are really glad for these opportunities to stay connected using technology in between conferences. So thank you for your time today. I do want to, since we have some new folks on the call that haven't been on before, we do have a Stay Connected website where you can go for more information about these webinars. And I put the link in the chat, but we typically have them the first and the third Thursdays of each month. They're a half hour and they begin at noon Central Time. So we are consistent about the pattern of dates and the time that we offer these. And they really are intended to be a time to stay connected in between our after-school conferences. So our after-school conference partners, thank you for being here. Nebraska's 21st Century Community Learning Center program, Nebraska Department of Education, Beyond School Bells, Nebraska Extension, Click to Science, PD. And today's webinar is being led by one of those partners, Beyond School Bells. They have a lot of really wonderful opportunities they're able to bring to our after school and summer programs. So Dakota and Jeff, if you want to go ahead and take it away and then stay on at the end for just a minute, and I'll show you what's on the Stay Connected website so you're able to access the resources that you might be interested in. So again, thanks for joining us, and Jeff and Dakota, thank you for presenting today.
Well, thanks, Kim, and good to see so many faces that we saw at the conference, and glad to be kind of back in person, but also glad to have this opportunity to use technology to keep us connected and stay connected. So glad that we're continuing this series. And so, yeah, I'm Jeff Cole. I'm the network lead for Beyond School Bells, and Dakota Staggs is my partner here today on our presentation about Best Summer Ever. And so I will kind of give you some macro level stuff and turn it over to Dakota to kind of dig into some of the details. But Beyond School Bells is a program of the Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and we're super proud partners of the Department of Education and Extension with the Get Connected conference, and very excited about the opportunities we have over the next several years to really grow a broader base of high quality, locally sustainable after school and summer programs. And summer is so important these days. I think with all of the disrupted learning that's happened over the last 2 years, we really don't have any minutes to waste. And summer really represents those chunks of time where we can be creative and do engaging hands-on activities with young people in a way that they really do need now. Probably now more than ever. They need it all the time, but now more than ever, the opportunity of young people to get their hands dirty with their classmates and have fun, engaging learning experiences that maybe take them out into the community in a way that you can't do during the school year. Maybe take them out to a nature center or to a local park or just exploring in their backyard. So we're very excited about the opportunity that we have through the generosity of our partners to be able to support grants for what we're calling Best Summer Ever. So we'll be, they're live on our website. I put the link in the chat if you are interested in going checking that out. But we are in the process of reviewing or collecting applications now. We'll be making grants the week, I believe, 17th, the week of the 17th, I guess is how that would play out, of April, wanting to get folks money to infuse into either existing or help start new summer learning programs and communities across the state. And I will let Dakota kind of talk through some of the details, but for us, it's really, as the adage goes, it's all about time. And we think with summer, we have a real unique opportunity that we can't pass. We can't pass up this summer, and the opportunities that we have to really re-engage young people in learning through creative summer experiences. So we're thrilled to be in a position to provide these awards, and look forward to seeing applications from everybody on the call. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dakota to kind of walk through some of the specific areas we're prioritizing, some of the mechanics of the grant itself, and then I'll stick on so we can answer any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Kim. I'm going to share my screen real quick, just so everyone can see where I'm at. Let me know if this comes through clearly. Good, cool. So this is Beyond School Bells, just our homepage on our website. You can see beyondschoolbells.org. From there, this summer tab right here, this is what we're talking about today. So if you click this, this takes you to the Best Summer Ever homepage. We've got a couple kind of context information, things like that. Exactly what Jeff's talking about. Summer learning is essential. So we see this as a huge opportunity. The mini grants that he's talking about can also be found on this page. So this year, as similar to last year, we have 3 categories of these grants. So programs can apply to either an environmental and conservation summer program, a youth-driven summer program, or a service learning and civic engagement. So each of those are categories that we've developed to kind of focus on areas that Beyond School Bells has a lot of our own resources for, and we want to kind of provide those to others and allow programs to take them for themselves and grow them and use them in their own contexts. But each of those also has an opportunity for programs to take their own youth and take leadership from the students, from the ones who we're intending to serve through these grants, and have them kind of build in their own self-directed learning. So that's pretty clear with youth driven, but there are also opportunities within environmental and service learning categories so that students can choose, if they really want to do an outdoor project, they want to focus on environmental and conservation, but it's not one of the suggested categories. They can put together an idea themselves. So the application page, some resources, there's links down there, but they are also up at the top here. So to go to the application, you can click that link, or again on the side here. The application is pretty simple, but there's a couple questions. If you download this, it'll give you a document to then fill out to formally apply. We will also need the completed application as well as a letter of support. And that usually comes from a superintendent or a school principal. And then along with each of those, in your application, there is an opportunity for a budget justification. So we don't need exact line by line, but we do need kind of at least categories to show if you're going to do an outdoor classroom project, what kind of outdoor classroom are you going to do? And that's kind of something we can talk about. I'm happy to get into questions, but I'll save that for the end. So again, here's those categories: environmental conservation, youth-driven, and service learning. Within each of those, we've suggested a couple strands that kind of relate to those categories. So environmental and conservation. The first thing that comes to my mind, and so it's the first suggestion, is outdoor classrooms and school gardens. We're very much in favor of these. We really like to see them. We have a lot of projects that came out last summer and a lot that are growing this year. So we're happy to see any more. Environmental service. So this is something that's kind of popped up that's new this year, especially as communities are rebuilding and kind of re-engaging. I know a lot of school programs are trying to get back out into their partnerships and re-engage partners. This is something that can kind of connect to those, especially those environmental organizations and partners across your communities. You can blend those two ideas and do environmental service. And like I said, the youth identified topics. So same thing with youth driven. We really want the youth-driven category to be explicit and direct to what students want to do. So we have some resources, again, I'll get to that, and it's on a resources page, that will help programs, help students kind of brainstorm, what do they want to see in their summer program? What is a fun, engaging, insightful summer program? What does it look like to them? So we have some resources that will help students guide that conversation, and then you can use however those conversations go, whether it's notes, whether it's a brainstorm sheet, whether it is the template that we provide. You can use those documents, those pieces of information to inform your summer application, your application to the grant. So that can be in something like entrepreneurship. We have some resources, we have some partnerships we can direct you to if students are really interested in that category, or if there's things that they've identified that are not listed here. Last year, we had one program, their students were very interested in theater. So they did a whole summer program based on theater within the youth-driven category. And they kind of just connected why students were interested in that, what the previous experience was, and kind of where they wanted to take it, how that was going to be continued. And it was a very successful program. So that youth-driven, we try to leave a lot of opportunity for exactly what students want to see. The last of those three is the service learning. So within that, we have youth voice. If students really want to be civically engaged, kind of take their place in their community, give them a youth voice, kind of teach students how to communicate with others, how to communicate their ideas and their aspirations. And next to that, environmental action civics. So this is actually a partnership that Beyond School Bells has with an organization called Earth Force. And they have developed what they call environmental action civics. So the idea is that students can have interests and appreciation for environmental and conservation issues, but we also need to connect that to action, to taking things to a community level. And that community can be as small as a classroom or as big as the state of Nebraska, although the state of Nebraska would be quite a huge project, but it still counts. So that's kind of the idea behind needing action at a community level. They have a very step-by-step direct process to take students through environmental action civics. And once again, youth identified topics. So successful applications would include aligning ELO programs, their goals, and summer experiences, so that whatever you choose to apply to within the summer grant, that connects to your school year program, excuse me. So making that cohesive kind of step is just something we really like to see, so that programs can continue to build on the school year and then take this summer and build on it next school year. Like I said, applications need a letter of support. Engaging youth in community-based learning. So sometimes that is actually getting out into the community. We also see that as bringing the community in. If there are partners who are experts in certain areas, so if there's a local business that's a small business, really entrepreneurial mindset, bringing them into the program, working with students for an entrepreneurial project or even just a week, something like that, that definitely applies there. And we of course love to see STEM, other tool-rich experiences. VSB has a lot of recommendations, a lot of materials that can be applied here. We're also happy to talk through this. I think that STEM is such a broad term. I'm sure we all hear it, especially in after school quite a few times a day. But I think that this piece really has a lot of opportunity for us to be innovative and creative with how we engage in STEM, whether that's robotics or whether it is engineering your own gardens or engineering your own, I don't know, really anything. You can engineer a lot of things, but it's a really broad topic. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity to engage this throughout summer programs. And then the last should include where possible connections to future learning and careers. So we have a couple more links here that kind of connect to some of these ideas, the centers of excellence. So BSB has some partners who have expertise in certain areas. You can go here for tips and tricks there. I think I've seen a couple of our Center of Excellence members on this call. Our BSB curriculum and toolkit, those are links to other pages on our website, but they're also at the top of the website bar. I'm going to pause really quick there. I think I did forget to note, applications are due April 15. Like Jeff was saying, we will then take the following week to review, and we intend to have responses to all applicants by April 22nd. That's an aspiration. I'm not going to give a hard deadline to ourselves because things happen, but that's the hope. And then with that, we will hopefully have then contracts out by April 29th so that programs can have a signed contract and get their programs underway on May 1st. I'm going to pause for any questions real quick before I go to resources.
Feel free to unmute yourself. I don't see any questions in the chat, but just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask.
Hearing none, I will go over to resources. So this is the last page on our summer page. So here we have the summer resources, so the community brainstorming sheet and the student brainstorming sheet. So these don't have to be specific to youth-driven or youth-generated ideas, but they are very useful for those applications. I think they're also useful just to engage students and kind of really hone down on what students want to do, what activities, what kind of layout they want, what a successful or fun summer looks like to them. But you can download these and engage community partners in the community brainstorming sheet or students in the student brainstorming sheet. In addition to that, I completely skipped one. So right above the resources page, we have our sample proposals. And these are documents that BSB's created. Some of them are a couple years old, some of them are a couple weeks old, so they really vary, but these were created to give an idea for kind of what we're looking for, but also just some creative ideas in what you could apply to a summer grant project. So some of the most direct ones when we think of summer are school gardens and outdoor classrooms. So each of these just has ideas on what kind of materials you can purchase, what kind of programs you can put together, ways to engage some of those STEM pieces that can be really unique or innovative. And then it will help kind of put together a layout, partners that you could connect to, BSB curriculum you could incorporate, other curriculum or projects you can incorporate. And then, so we have one of these for, like I said, so the garden, an outdoor classroom. We also have one for a sample youth-driven proposal. We have one for an environmental action civics. So this connects to that Earth Force process. And then a civic or service learning proposal. So each of these, if you come to this page, so again, this is Beyond School Bells, summer, and the sample proposals. If you come down here and you click one, it will download I don't know if it's a PDF or a Word document. It's the same information either way. I think it's a PDF, but it will download one of those and just kind of give you an idea for an application in its whole. If you do choose to use one of these, we're totally fine with that, but we do ask that kind of tweak it to your specific circumstance. So you can have some of the same materials and some of the same activities, but making those relevant to your students and your community and your program. That is a pretty general, quick overview of our summer learning website, but some of the resources in the application process. I'm gonna stop sharing here and open it up for questions one more time. And if there aren't questions, I'm curious if anybody is putting together an application, anybody has any creative ideas they're thinking through for their summer program. I guess so I'll rephrase it. When I say a summer grant program, what are images or phrases or what kind of pictures come to mind for people?
So for our summer camp, as we are planning, we are trying to brainstorm how we can utilize some of our high school clubs, like robotics or STEM club, to help support programming within our summer camps. Would this maybe fit like some of the criteria of what the grant might be for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I think, and it sort of depends on those clubs and how you want to engage the K-8 summer program.
Right.
But the first thing that comes to my mind is doing a youth-led program so that you can have those younger students identify what kind of clubs they're interested in, and then bringing in those high school clubs and high school students to facilitate. And so this grant can be used to help pay those high school students,
Okay.
maybe provide a stipend to their club if you want to structure it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely something we really shoot for, is having young adults, high school or college students, especially high school, kind of engage in summer programs, especially when they were in K-8, creating that cycle is really fun.
Oh, Graham has a question, I think.
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
So sorry, I was driving there. I don't think my camera's on. I pulled over though. I was just going to jump in and say I'm Graham from Future Kids, and we have a lot of soccer and tennis programs. And during summer, over the past couple of years, we've helped with the Skylar summer school program, where we would go there, for 3 weeks, and would kind of be there every day for a couple of hours, just doing different sporting activities. I was thinking maybe we could try and apply for some of our other communities that we haven't done summer programming in, or at least that scale of summer programming before. That might be something Future Kids could do, or if anyone's on the call that's looking for assistance in that type of thing, we could certainly help.
That's a great opportunity, Graham. And yeah, these grants, as Dakota mentioned, are identified really to spread the wealth across the state. So if there are some communities that don't have a program, that weren't thinking about applying, bringing you guys in to provide that programming in a 3-week club model would be fantastic. Going back to Dakota's question, I think about my summer. It was spent outside, running around, getting dirty and sweating, and all the things that we want kids across the state to be able to do. So that sounds like a great, a great use of this kind of support.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Graham. Sorry, I was checking the chat real quick. I'll see if I can pull up some templates, but in the meantime, I think so. One thing that comes to my mind with summer, so I actually didn't get to experience an actual after-school summer program when I was in elementary school, but I did experience a couple summer camps. And the thing that comes to my mind is definitely exploring outdoors. And one of the summer grants last year that I like to highlight this year, because it kind of resonated with me and I think it's a cool project, is one of our partner programs used the outdoor classroom grant to put together different outdoor classroom stations across their campus. So it wasn't necessarily a single outdoor classroom with seats and a chalkboard, but they created a bird watching station and a station for outdoor recreation. And they had a bike repair station as part of that. And they had a different station that had some gardens that included native pollinators, plants, included different kind of insect stations and things like that. And they said they had a couple more. They had a whole bunch, but they used the grant in kind of a creative way. So they had an approach to outdoor classrooms, but it wasn't necessarily just a single space for learning. It was spreading out that kind of approach to being outside and noticing different things outdoors. And that's just one example of kind of what comes to my mind from my experience and seeing last year. But if others have any ideas like that, I'm going to try and pull up a template. Feel free to share in the meantime.
Well, the thing that we really like about that example that Dakota shared is it's the gift that keeps on giving. So it was a one-time grant, but established a foundation through the bird watching area and the outdoor spaces, an opportunity to continue providing programming this summer and future summers. And that's the key, I think, with this grant. We realize that funding is always uncertain, and if there's a way to leverage a one-time investment in some supplies that allow you to continue operating after the end of the grant period, those are always good leverage opportunities for us.
Here is a closer look. Can everybody see this? Yeah, cool. So this is that student brainstorming sheet. So if you were to use it, if you want to apply to a youth-driven or a youth-generated ideas, you can pull up this sheet and download it. And you can do one of two things. If you have access to a digital platform, as students are familiar with using digital tools, You could have them input sticky notes or text boxes on a document like this, or you can print it out over. I would probably do it over 1 or 2 pages because it's pretty big, or maybe give students their own individual pages. Either way, you could provide this to them and kind of think through, okay, what kind of clubs do students want to see? What kind of materials and tools do they really want to work with? Is that cardboard? Is it they want to put together circuits? Things like that. Students will come up with very creative ideas, as you're all aware. What kind of activities and what kind of people and friends do they want to see and do? And then after you kind of get some of those general ideas, then put them into a format that can kind of create a flow and progress over a summer program, over however many weeks or months your program is. So this is just 3 days, but you can extend that to days, you can do weeks, whatever fits best for you. So that's the student brainstorming sheet.
It's a great resource when planning for summer or school year, any level of after school program. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm going to put my email in the chat. If anybody has any questions, if anybody wants to brainstorm ideas with me, it's my favorite part of the job, so I'm happy to do it. Just let me know.
And Dakota, I just wanted to clarify. So I'm pretty sure it said you needed either your principal, like it was for a specific site, so I could just get the principal's signature for that, or the superintendent, either or, it's not both. Is that right? So if it was like a district-wide, oh, sorry.
Come to the office, please.
Sorry about that. If it was a district-wide thing, I'd obviously want the superintendent to sign it, but it's for a specific building. I could just get the principal to sign off. Is that correct? Does I hear that correctly?
It is correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think when you have, especially like an outdoor classroom or a garden project that does have implications to the grounds, if you want to implement something or install something, getting higher up approval for that will streamline the process later on. We ran into a couple of obstacles last summer. So when there's something like that, if you're going to install something that's going to be long-term, it's better to have a superintendent's approval. But if it's site by site, principal also works.
And might I recommend, because I honestly just had a meeting like that, because we do have school gardens at our 3rd, 4th grade building. And so I just had a meeting with the principal and actually the head of maintenance and the head of maintenance and grounds, because we need to do some modifying. We're at 5 years into building these, and stuff has fallen apart and things need to be repaired. And so literally had that meeting with this building principal, the head of maintenance, and the head of building and grounds, the one that does the mowing and the trimming. So honestly, they're the people that need to be on board, because the superintendent said, yeah, great, go ahead and do it. But they're really the people you need to get on board and make sure that, I know they don't have to sign it, but you need to get their blessing before you go for it. That's been my experience. It's makes life much more happy and not so miserable. So, and theirs too, if they're on board with the process.
I could not agree more. That is a great recommendation.
And Dakota, I would just jump in and say, typically if a district is accepting a grant, you're going to want that superintendent to sign off on that, because sometimes they have to revise their budgets, just so that they're aware, where the money's coming from and that type of thing. So probably getting that superintendent to sign off is a good idea.
Especially Jan, because they're handling the financial part, right? I mean, the business manager has to handle that and deal with it. Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's true.
Thanks, Jan. That's a good point.
Any other comments or questions? What a great opportunity. I wonder if you hear the wind howling from my computer. It sounds like my house is going to lift off the ground. But thank you for sharing. Thanks for your generosity and providing the opportunity and your willingness to talk through ideas with people. I'm sure you'll have some folks who will want to get in touch with you. So thanks very much. And the resources are great. Examples of applications I think will be really helpful too. So I'm going to share my screen for just a second. Don't go away. So are you seeing the Stay Connected website? Okay, so I just wanted, in case we have people on that haven't been on these webinars before, I wanted to point out the website, and I did put the link in the chat. But if you go to this website, if you're looking for professional development credit for your participation, there is a link to a request for a certificate here. So go ahead and fill that out and submit it. And our assistant, Sherry Landis, does those, I think, maybe once a month, and she'll get back to you with your certificate so you can keep track of your professional development hours and your staff as well. We also wanted to point out that there are many, many archived webinars that you can access, and most of them are still very relevant. So here's a long listing, or you can, and I'm not sure you're seeing this as I jump around, but hopefully you are. So environmental and outdoor education, most of these opportunities, these are webinars led by our community partners. So check these out, and you might get some ideas or suggestions for other partners that they might want to get in touch with and help with this grant or any others. But I just wanted to make sure you knew how to find this screen. And then here you'll also see any webinars that we've planned ahead for. So you'll see today's, the third Thursday of the month is April 21st, and we have 4-H Reading Connections that will be presenting about their summer reading program. So I just wanted to make sure you knew how to find that and what is there. And if nobody has any other questions, I really want to thank you for joining us, and we hope you're able to join our next webinar. And let us know, another link on this page, Graham, if you're driving in a car, you probably can't see it, but there's a presenter application. So if you are interested in applying to do a Stay Connected webinar, if you're a partner, if you have a great idea for a club you want to share, go ahead and fill that application out, and we'll get back in touch with you and see if we can get you on the schedule. So thanks, everybody. If you don't have any other questions, we will see you next time. Nice to see all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dakota. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Kim.